What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we're back on the cornerback controversy, but we're actually going in a different direction. Or at least we're starting there. We're going to talk about Cam Smith, who was a second round pick a couple years ago, who just hasn't panned out. No other way to say it. I mean, I guess bust would be the proper term. Barely gets on the field, hasn't really shown a lot of growth, tenacity. Really, we haven't shown any capacity to counter them. Part of the reason we're wanting to let Jalen Ramsey go is because there's a belief that maybe Cam can step up and be the second round player that we thought he would be. And he just hasn't been so far, right? So obviously people are asking Coach McDaniel, hey, how's Cam doing? Because the coach knows better than we do. And he said a lot of things. We clipped out a portion of it, but he said a lot, and almost none of it was Cam is balling, right? Here's what he said. We're in a good spot in where we're developing this year for him to perform and for his teammates to count on him. But it's not only his job to get to this point, but to follow through without any sort of setbacks and vigor and focus every day moving forward. We'll see what he has in store based upon thus far this offseason. Now, before that, he was talking about, and I didn't clip the quote because it just would have been like 2 pages long, but he was saying basically the work he's put in so far, I wouldn't want to put that out to the people. That that's I don't. There's nothing good about that. Based on what I've seen so far, y'all don't want to see how he's been performing. That's what he basically said. Now he did say that we're gonna give him every chance to succeed. Again, we've already put the draft capital into him, and he's cheap now. So if he's anywhere near the talent that we drafted him at, then he's worthy of giving, I guess, as long a leash as you can before he starts costing you any money. But to say he's been a disappointment, it's just how else can you say it? We would have thought at the very worst, you are a rotational third corner, nickel corner, awesome at special teams, fighting for that second corner, ideally first corner spot. The idea that there's at least four corners ahead of you, including maybe a rookie. I don't know, what are we doing? Now the question does become, is this like a head situation? Right? There's a thing where you can have a lot of talent in the world, but you're just not locked in. That's why he said attacking every practice with vigor. One of his quotes that I didn't put in here was the difference between catching passes in practice and like catching a pass and running a route in a game is the gap between where Cam is right now. Meaning he's going through the motions of doing cornerback activities, but he's not like locked in. He's not seeing coverage as well. He's not knowing when to break on the ball. Like he's just out there. He's like a shell of himself. He's going through the motions of doing his job, but he's not doing the job at a level that we can even remotely put you on the field. And if you're not performing at that level, then I don't know what we're doing. But he still is a high draft pick we have equity in him. So it's like, hey, we do want you to be good, but you have shown us nothing that you're trying to be good. And if this keeps going on this trajectory, if he doesn't get on the field at some point during this year, I can very easily see him being cut. And that would suck if he gets cut and then ends up being good somewhere else. This honestly feels like a Deontay Johnson kind of situation. Deontay Johnson actually had a few good years in the league, especially with Pittsburgh, where he was a very competent receiver. I thought solid, like fantasy wide receiver three type guy, right? Then he got traded to like three different teams. It was like Carolina, Baltimore, and I think a third team picked him up. And on every stop, he was awful. Couldn't get on the field, issues in the locker room, and it's like, is this guy just done? Now he's on Cleveland, and we'll see. But it's a situation where sometimes it's hard to put it all together, and it could be off the field stuff. It could just be not a fit schematically, like maybe the city doesn't fit him. Miami has a ton of distractions. We all know that. So maybe he needs to go to a city like Indianapolis where you're not going to be out on the 4 a.m. nightlife kind of thing. But it just hasn't worked out so far. It's been disappointing. And my hope, because you guys know I love cornerbacks, my hope is that he emerges to the point that he can get on the field. I think I've kind of abandoned the idea of him being cornerback one or two, but if he could be DB3, if he can be like, a strong special teams guy, maybe get a couple punt blocks, just can you contribute to the team? Not everybody needs to be a starter. Teams miss on draft all the time. But can you show us there's something there that we can hold on to? We're going to continue the cornerback conversations because obviously we're in mini camp. We're in OTAs. And Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, neither one are at camp. We understand the Jonnu situation. We talked about it yesterday. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, is basically like, you cut us a check or we're not showing up. Tony Gillett, he's under contract. So it's not like he will have to show up at some point. But he got a Tua endorsement today where Tua's like, hey, I'm with Team Johnu. Like, we can pay him, which is great. When the quarterback's on your side, that's usually a pretty good sign. But that's Johnu's situation. Jalen Ramsey's now in the field for a much more basic reason. We're trying to trade him, and he doesn't want to go out there and get hurt and possibly mess up his trade value. Makes sense to me. I didn't expect him to be at OTAs. Why would he be there? I'm trying to actively leave you. That's like showing up to a party as a couple when I'm trying to break up with you. I don't want to show him. There's no reason to show face here. This is ending. You say you want to break up. I want to break up. Hey, look at us being a happy couple. No, we're not a happy couple. I don't want to be here, right? So they asked Coach McDaniel about this. Like, how does he feel about the Jalen Ramsey situation? How does he feel? And he said, personally, I don't give a expletive about what I feel. I don't even really go down the road of how do I feel about it. My job is to react and control my controllables and make sure that people are moving in one direction appropriately. Business is business. The opportunity that business does provide in the offseason is a rep to the team about handling noise. I actually love this perspective because, as I mentioned on previous shows, the Dolphins haven't been great with distractions. We haven't been particularly great with praise, actually. Distractions, I don't fully believe in them. I do think sometimes teams can galvanize around, outside noise and us against the world kind of stuff. I do believe that. In this case, where are objectively one of your 3 or 4 best players wants to be out, they've made kind of a public stink about it. The team has done the same thing. And every day it's a new trade scenario. Cowboys, Redskins, Commanders, Raiders, you name it. Everyone's shipping. ESPN doing segments. Where could Ramsey go? It's taking away from what the team is trying to do. So in this case, it's a distraction because Ramsey talks. He's a known name. It's not like we're trying to trade, you know, like Austin Jackson, who like most of the league doesn't know. We all know who Ramsey is. He's a champion, all pro. We know who he is. So it's a distraction in the sense that we're weak at the position he's getting traded from. So it's like you're losing someone who's good at that position, leaving a vacancy, and then the team has to fill the position. So both conversations both end up back at Jalen Ramsey. It's like, who are you trading him to? And then who are you getting to replace him? Both of those are happening at the same time. And we know that a lot of analysts and lists don't think the Dolphins are going to be good next year. They've been very outspoken about it. They say we have a bottom third team structure, C minus in the draft for a lot of people. They got Tua ranked like 17 at quarterback, Coach McDaniel at 14 at coach. Like, it's not projected to do good. So there's a lot of stuff floating around us, and the Jalen Ramsey conversation almost entirely has been negative. There's no good that comes from this because he's already under contract. The fan base likes him. He's good at his job still, even though he's on a downturn, and we don't have an obvious replacement for it. And so coach is like, hey, it don't matter if I like this or not. Once he said I'm out, and the owner said he's going to be out, and the GM said he's going to be out, it's out of my hands. What am I to do? Like, hey, I really wish Jalen could stay. So what? My bosses want him to go, and he wants to go. It doesn't matter how I feel. That's the nature of being a coach. You police the team. You try to get them in the right place. It's not. You don't get to say, "Oh, this hurts my feeling. I really love Jalen. He's great for the team." He is, but it's out of your hands. So I actually respect the idea of him saying, "I don't even think about how I feel about the situation because there's nothing to consider." Me beefing with my bosses is bad for me, especially when I'm on the hot seat. I can't go in there after 8 and 9 year and be like, "Hey, you got to keep this player." It's like, you got to keep your job. Don't be worried about him. You may not have a job in a year, at least and on this level. So I'm with coach completely. Don't worry about what the people are saying outside the doors. Jalen's going to get handled when he gets handled at the appropriate time. The Jair being available thing kind of complicates the situation because he's younger, way more injury prone, but younger. So teams may be like, do I go with the younger option or proven older? So it's a little bit more murky now, but it'll get handled. And finally, we're going to talk about Jaylen Wright, who doesn't get a lot of burn on the show because, frankly, he didn't do a lot last year. There's no way around it. I think when we drafted him, a lot of people thought, why are you drafting this guy? You got people at the position. You got Moser. You got HN. Why are you drafting at a luxury position when you have way bigger needs in the third round? Fair critique, probably. Especially given last year, he didn't really produce at a level to be like, oh, okay, well, I see why you got him, right? Now, I did an episode a few episodes ago about the Ollie Gordon and Devon Achane being Sonic and Knuckles 2 kind of situation. Because Ollie is a big dude, almost 240 pounds, and of course, Achane, complete lightning bolt. Now, the person left out of that is Jaylen Wright, who's like, hey guys, I'm bigger than him, smaller than him, but still pretty fast, decent receiver, okay blocker, right? Where does he fit in the equation? The problem for him last year is that he showed bursts early in the year, but towards the end of the year was a complete ghost. When he got on the field, we're talking 1.5 yard per carry type numbers. I mean, if you don't get at least 4 yards a carry, you cannot be an NFL running back. We're not in the business of this Jerome Bettis 5 carries for 4 yards, 3 touchdown life. That's over. That's only for fantasy life. If you're not getting 4 yards a carry, you can't be a running back. We're not here for this 20 carries, 47 yards. Hey, I gave y'all a strong effort. Nah, we need productivity. And when he's late in the year giving you 4 carries for 6 yards, I'm like, what is this? What is this? Now, part of it is he started to wear down toward the end of the year, which happens to a lot of rookies because the college season is now 13, 14, 15 games, and NFL season 17. But the level of competition is crazy. There's no off week in the NFL, even when you play a team like the Saints, who I think are terrible. But they're still grown men who are much bigger than these college players that are trying to take your head off. In college, you get the Mercers and you get the freebies. We know. And the pros, you don't. The practices are more grueling. The games are more grueling. The hits hurt more. The guys are heavier. They're stronger. So it wears on you throughout the year. Devon Achane went through the same thing. Early in his career, like his first year, the first 5-6 games he played, electric. The last few, tapered off. That's a normal thing for running backs, normal thing for rookies in general. So to combat this, he decided I need to get stronger in the offseason. He's added 6 pounds so far. He may get closer to 10 by the time we actually get to, the season. And he said lost body fat. So he looks diesel. Like he looks like he put on 15 pounds. But he's like, nah, body composition stuff. Cut the fat, build the muscle so I look bigger. And also, let's get my cardio up. Because we all know, listen, fatigue makes weak. We all get weak with fatigue. Once some hand hits the knees and you start breathing heavy, that will starts to go away when you get tired. We've all been there in multiple sports. We've seen it in basketball. Guys get tired in the fourth quarter, you start letting him go. He can get the layup. He good. Like you start seeing a lot of long threes late in games. Like, why don't you just go to the basket? I'm about 36 minutes in. I'm a little tired, right? It happens in football as well. That's why they say running backs get stronger as the game goes on. A lot of Derrick Henry's long runs last year were late in the game because defenders were just tired tackling him. First quarter, let's go, Derrick. Third, fourth quarter, my man, this feel like carry 25. How many times you get this guy the ball? And you come a little softer, and that's when you get break the tackle and get longer and longer, right? So Jaylen said, I got to get my cardio stronger, add some muscle, reduce the body fat, lock in. I know I didn't do well last year. I got to be strong enough this year that when they do call my name, I'm going to be ready for it. I love this mentality. I think it's the right place to be. I like the temperament. I like the self-accountability, right? Because he could have been like, oh, coach didn't give me a chance, so I wasn't good. No, I was beat up. I wasn't strong enough to be good last year. I'm going to at least put myself in position to be strong enough this year. We will see how many touches he gets because we have 3 running backs. You could throw Madison in there, but I just don't think he's going to play. We have basically 3 running backs that are going to split 20 to 25 carries a game, in my estimation. We might go up to 30, but I think 25 is a good number. So he might be getting 6 to 8 carries a game. And in those 6 to 8 carries, you got to be giving us, 25 to 45 yards, I would think, and maybe burst one every now and again. And he may just be in on plays just for blocking purposes. So when you get a chance, you got to be ready for it. He sounds like he's prepping to be ready for it. So I love to hear it. Hopefully, we give him a shot. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. We will see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.